his shirt off, he's still in pretty good shape.
Very good not shape. Great burly shape, but...
No. Well, not quite Steve Nicol shape, but he's got a few abs. Is that his skill level, his skill set, his physicality, his ability, his mindset? All those are an eye-opener, I think, for players. If you really want to get to the top, that's the kind of standard that you have to try and adhere to. Now, 99.9% are not going to get to his standard, but I think it is good to look at him and say, wow, that really is somebody who's been at the top of the game for 15 years or so.
Speaking of percentages, meanwhile, tomorrow sees a return of the Champions League. We are down to the quarter-finals. Juventus at 45% to advance. Real Madrid 55%. The first leg in Turin is, of course, a repeat of last year's final. Talk about a proper match, Craig. That's exactly what this should be.
Absolutely. You've got Juve back top of the league. I've got some tough games to come, but they're back in control. It's not the silky football, but that's never what they do. They're going to be strong, but Real Madrid for me. Real Madrid, I think they can go to Turin and win, and get it done in the second leg. I don't see Juve in the final this year. Don't see it happening.
But you look at Juve and look at their form of 2018. That goal that Bonucci scored was the first they conceded in the league for the whole calendar year. And we saw what they did to Spurs. They are a machine. But I suppose, is it that Real Madrid are a different animal?
Without question, to both those questions. And I think as good as Juventus have been, certainly the record has shown, I don't think some of their football has been as good as we were seeing from them this time last year. And in many respects, against Spurs, Juventus just out-experienced them, if that's a word, but it is no.
Okay.
You don't do that. Certainly not in the Champions League, not against Real Madrid. I don't see it happening. I'm going Real Madrid here.
You look at what happened at the weekend. Gareth Bale, star of the show for Real Madrid, dominated in their match, yet more than likely to start on the bench.
Yeah, and it's a conversation we were having about Isco last week when he was doing so well with Spain and really no certainty as to whether he would start with Real Madrid. And that's a problem, if you want to call it a problem, for Zinedine Zidane, that he has options to pick from. To be quite honest with you, if I were Zinedine Zidane, I wouldn't have Gareth Bale or Isco starting. I would have Asensio and Lucas Vázquez and play with a 4-4-2 because that's what Real Madrid were at their best against PSG. And if I was picking Real Madrid against PSG at a moment where Real Madrid was all over the place and Cristiano Ronaldo was not scoring goals, I'm rolling with Real Madrid right now because, oh, by the way, Cristiano's scoring a bunch of goals.
And they've got massive momentum behind them. It is a big statement, though, if you leave Gareth Bale out once again. Of course, didn't feature much in the PSG game, and that is inevitably going to add fuel to the fire regarding rumours.
Yeah, it's one of those conversations where the manager tries to butter you up and says, I really think you can do a great job coming off the bench. And no player that I've ever spoke to believes it.
No.
Yeah.
You're right, Gaffer. Last 20 minutes. It's a difficult sell, but that's where he is. At Real Madrid, they've got so many good players to pick from. That's something he has to accept.
The thing is, Bale's stock keeps going up when Ronaldo isn't scoring. And then all of a sudden the new year rolls around, Ronaldo can't stop scoring. Better sell Bale at this point.
Let's look at the bottom of the table, shall we? Some significant results this weekend. West Brom, of course, down. They are done. They lost at home against Burnley. Meanwhile, Stoke City, with that defeat against Arsenal, leaves them in big trouble. Southampton, oh, so bad against West Ham in that 3-0 defeat. Make up the bottom three. Where should we start? The bottom three or Alan Pardew, Craig?
Pardew's gone, hasn't he?
Pardew's gone.
He's gone.
Has his reputation, his stock gone with him? Like, is that it now for Pardew and a Premier League side in the future?
Oh, in the Premier League?
Yeah.
At the moment, yeah. I mean, he might get back into a championship somewhere, I don't know, and rebuild his stock. But in terms of the Premier League, then yeah. But also, there's, you know, from what we've heard, there's a lot of bad apples at West Brom. There. It was a stinking place when he went in, so that didn't help.
You used to play under Pardew?
I did.
Are you surprised he couldn't turn this around? And is he done with regarding his future?
The Premier League has this merry-go-round where you have managers kind of coming and going, and it doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense. Now, for what it's worth, I don't think he's shown enough to deserve another job. But how many times have we said that before about different managers? I don't see how he recover from how poor this West Brom team has been. He's been in charge long enough to, you would think, make a difference, but he hasn't.
Everyone seems to be blaming Rondon, Harley.
Of course. Of course. The South American guy. He is the problem.
Blame Venezuela.
Yeah. Blame the Venezuelan guy. That's the issue they have.
I know we've had, over the years, I've had this sort of love in with Tony Pulis. But I seriously don't think they would be bottom of the league if Tony Pulis was still in charge. Right? Now, you can talk about style of play and all that, and I don't want to go and watch them. That's fine. Go to the Championship.
Right.
I don't think they would be in that position. Similarly, if Southampton hadn't bust their head and sacked Claude Puel for, again, well, the style of football isn't great, well, fine. Go to the Championship. And that's the trouble with these clubs. They can't see the bigger picture. They just can't see it.
What about your former teammate at Stoke?
Well, that's not going too well either.
No, no. They were a bit unlucky though. That first goal wasn't a penalty, was it? Did you think? In the Arsenal game?
On Ozil?
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
Well, he played the ball, unless the laws of the games have changed. But then they lost the head at the end. I mean, he's got a big task. Huddersfield are dropping down.
Yes.
Swansea look as if they might escape, which never looked likely, so credit them at the moment. And I think Crystal Palace will be all right if they can stop conceding goals in the last 10 minutes of games. But it's going to be a bun fight for Stoke and Southampton, two clubs that I really didn't think would have been in this relegation dogfight at the start of the season.
Do you think it's those three? It's the only talking point, really, of the whole Premier League now. Ali can't wait.
You think I don't know that?
Are you going for those
I've
three?
been in this position. I don't know if was your time in England, was you fighting down the bottom?
Once with
I had a couple of years with Derby, and I can tell you, you're really going to find out about your players.
Did you go down with Derby in the end?
After 3, in the 3rd year, yeah, we went down. But I was out injured, so I'm not taking any blame.
It's a surprise.
Well, he quickly detached himself from that.
I did get the blame. I was out for a while. But what I can tell you, in the first 2.5 years under Jim Smith, when we stayed up, it was blood, sweat and tears just to try and stay up. And you do learn a lot about your teammates. And if you've got too many bad apples in there, then you're not going to stay up. You're going to go. And I think we're seeing that with a couple of the clubs.
Well, Shaq, a word on Newcastle.
Yeah, doing fantastically well. Turned their home form around under Rafa Benitez of late, and that's keeping them up. I thought they'd look doomed, 6 weeks ago? But yeah, as I say, continue to do well. You know they're not going to give goals up, and somehow managed to get goals and get the best out of John Joe Shelby, which I don't think many managers can say.
Wow.
And maybe Mike Ashley will sell the club, because the big concern was he was going to sell Newcastle at Christmas time, ahead of the January transfer window. Benitez was talking about it. It didn't happen. The big concern was if they'd got relegated, he was going to lose a huge chunk of his investment. If they stay up, maybe he can sell, and the Newcastle fans and Benitez can get somebody in that invests in the team.
The big talking point, of course, Chelsea losing at Stamford Bridge against Spurs by 3-1. Conte's side now 8 points adrift at the top 4. That's done, isn't it, Craig? Obviously, done and dusted. Any hopes of qualifying for the Champions League are done. But I suppose the big question is, how have they fallen so far, so quickly, when you compare where they were this time last season?
Personnel, man management, throw it all in there. And by the way, they're going to end up in the dreaded Europa League as well.
Yeah.
Mind you, he's not bothered, because he'll be shoving that onto somebody else.
No doubt he's leaving, obviously.
Yes, he's going Thursday night, somebody else can have that.
But they weren't that bad. Like, in the first half, they had chances, they looked all right. But the problem is, once the Ericsson goal went in and they went behind, then in the second half, you just didn't feel there was any sort of comeback.
But I mean, if you got guys that played for Real Madrid and Juventus, like Morata, if you get Eden Hazard, who's allegedly on the list of Real Madrid, if you've got N'Golo Kante, the list goes on, and Willian, I mean, surely you're going to be expected to be not bad.
Yeah.
The problem is the guys that have come in the summer haven't been up to I mean, I know Morata got a goal, but he's on his backside half the first half again. Goes back to Costa in the summer. If you text message a player to tell him you're not wanted, right? First of all, you don't do it to a youth team player, a reserve team player, or any player. But if you're going to treat somebody like that, you're damn well sure you've got your man lined up to replace him. He didn't, and that was absolute folly back then.
Let's talk about Morata, Ali, because as Craig said, he got his goal early as well, and you're thinking, right, now we can kick on. But he just seemed, just this touch, as Craig said, he spent a lot of time on the ground. I think everyone championed his cause when he came here, when we talked about Lukaku or Morata, but he just hasn't lived up to it, has he?
Well, we championed his cause. Manchester United initially was championing his cause as well, because he seemed to be the first choice. Everybody was after Morata. He was a hot commodity. And what we had seen from him, both at Real Madrid and Juventus, was a guy that, coming off the bench, was productive, was scoring goals. So the assumption was, well, now that he's going to be the guy, we will see the same level of skill over a long period of time, and so therefore the productivity will go up. Well, we were wrong. We were wrong. Because what happened is that when he became the guy, the shirt got a little tight. Yeah. And when the expectations and the questions became more and more about, why are you not scoring? Why are you not scoring? Yeah. Why are you not scoring? He had no answers. And the confidence went, and he went very quickly. The difference between one of these guys and the real top-tier strikers is that they maybe ask those questions, and then they come back and score in bunches. We have been expecting Morata to come back and score in bunches, and it hasn't happened.
Wrong place, wrong time, or not as good as we thought?
Who, Morata? Oh, well, you can only assume wrong place. Not as good as we thought, sorry.
That assumption changed.
One of the two.
I'm just thinking, listen, I understand. You start the season fantastically well. You've got the confidence of the manager. Everything's going great. You then have this ding in your confidence. And it's about responding to that. And the old cliche is, oh, you just need one to come off the knee. You just need one to come off the backside. Or you need the goalkeeper to come at one and flap, and you head it in the back of the goal. And you build on that. Yet you don't see that from Alvaro Morata. So regardless of what league you're playing in, if you can't build on those gifts, then I'm sorry, you're just not good enough.
I actually think he's a very, very good player. But boy, he needs to toughen himself up. He really needs to take a look at himself and toughen himself up. It was clear what Tottenham were doing to him. They were saying, Sanchez and Vertonghen were saying, we're going to back ourselves. If you try and run in behind, we're going to back ourselves or our full-backs to tuck round. But whenever that ball goes short into your feet, whether it was a two centre-halves or a midfielder or whatever, bang. They were right up behind them. They were trying to nick the ball in front of him. They were getting physical with him. OK, they might have given the odd foul away. But that was their ploy straight away. When the ball goes into his feet, anywhere in the field, get in there tight. And if he wants to spin and run in behind, then we'll back ourselves. And he couldn't handle it.
But the thing is, you don't play for Real Madrid, you don't play for Juventus, you don't play for Chelsea unless you're a very good player. I think Alvaro Morata is a very good player, potentially. The trouble is, he's never been the man until now. It's one thing coming off the bench, it's one thing playing a role for these other clubs, as big as they may be, as big a stage as it may be on, is another being the man at a club with expectation. Chelsea, maybe not the expectation of a Juventus or Real Madrid, but a lot of expectation, and he hasn't handled it.
Welcome into extra time. No questions about Zlatan on here.
They've been filtered.
They've been filtered through.
They've been filtered out.
Goodness
By you,
Who's
personally?
No, I'm delighted for him.
Who chooses the questions? You, Dan?
No, not me. I believe there is a team of extra time question choosers.
I thought you chose everything on this show.
No, I don't get involved in that.
I know why there's no Zlatan tweets.
Why is that?
Because the people that are filtering the Zlatan tweets are too busy tweeting
about the
Zlatan tweets and getting upset about any bad Zlatan tweets just in case there is any.
It was a good goal, though.
That's a good story. There is. So I don't know why people get so upset if anybody says anything negative about it, which I haven't. But why get upset? Don't just rise above it. I mean, it's like Zlatan's got his Scottish football. Oh, Scottish football's not very good. You couldn't get upset about it.
Hey, there are certain things that don't belong in the same sentence. Scottish football and Zlatan.
Well, no, Scottish football and Major League Soccer. They're pretty much the same, I would say.
Right. Where are we going here? What's the most impressive April Fool's joke you've played on someone or have been the victim of?
Why are you looking at me?
Last year.
Yeah, but you didn't play it.
No, but it was good.
Well, it wasn't. Well, get your facts right.
I was just waiting for you to answer.
Well, it wasn't last year. When was it?
That was a couple of years ago, wasn't it?
Was it 2 years?
Yeah, I think it was 2 years
Another
ago.
bloody MLS one.
When NYCFC said they would have people.
Yeah, well, you know, there was all these gizmos and gimmicks flying around, and I thought it was possible.
You didn't rise above that one.
No, I took the bait. I'll admit it, hook, line and sinker, I was straight in.
There you go. Shaq, do you play on your kids at all? You've got many kids.
Yeah,
Can't play
they
it from
tried
the
to
car.
play than us, but no.
No?
But we're
in the locker room, I don't know what you guys call it in England, but the hot muscle cream.
Oh, deep
heat?
heat.
Deep
Yeah,
heat?
deep,
Oh.
yeah.
Oh,
You put
no.
that in somebody's sliders or
Oh, no.
underpants or
The
whatever.
jock straps.
Yeah, jock straps.
Yeah, that's
Straight
wrong.
in. Great.
What, you like it? You like that feeling?
No, we used to get them.
Oh, I do like that.
Well then.
No.
Well,
No, I was on the other side of the fence.
You're applying it.
Well, no, I was. No,
I mean, that's an oldie but a goodie, yeah.
yeah, it's a goodie.
That was
How about nailing the shoes to the floor?
Well, that's next level.
Did someone do that?
Oh, well, yeah, that was in the dressing room, yeah. Good shoes as well. I used to wait till match day. Better than match day because the player comes in dressed with a proper clubber on.
Right.
You know, you normally change in the same place. You get your shoes under wherever you're sitting. You bench, get the shoes, and you hang your suits and all that up. And it was known on a couple of occasions that somebody went to get their shoes on, put their feet in, and then somebody had like nailed it. And so you go inside the shoe and the sole, just battle the nail through into the floor. I find it's quite difficult to move.
Well, that's kind of how I felt in my career.
Or you cut the tongue and then put it back in.
Yeah, all right. Yes, quite some detail.
Yeah, you cut the tongue of the shoes, put it back in, tie the lace, pull the tongue.
It feels like there's a lot of knowledge behind this. It feels like...
Well, the best one I used to like at lunchtime, it was you used to take the old one, you take the top off the salt.
Yeah.
And then you put it back on, but you don't screw it on.
Right.
And then you sit back and you just watch.
Yeah.
Or you cut the...
It's just like every day was all Fool's
Well,
Day.
the best
at
one, you
your
get
house.
the plastic cartons of juice you get, or plastic cups you get for the juice. You put them in a bundle of cups, but you get the top one and you cut the bottom out of it. So when they get the cup, it looks like it's... And then they pull it up and they pour the juice.
Perfect.
I mean, is there any more?
I don't know, Craig. You seem to be the instigator on all of
The
these.
best one I saw
It's
was
still good.
when somebody did this, but they did it, so they got the cup and they had got the lunch and they did it right over the top of the lunch and it was absolutely magic. It just splattered right down all over the dinner. Great.
Anything happen in your locker room, Sean?
No, not like that, no.
Oh. Where was this? Which club? Was it all of
Oh,
them?
Chelsea and Celtic
Yeah.
and Derby. Somebody
There's a
tied up.
common
You know one of
factor
those.
in all three of those.
You know one of those bread. You know one of those like I don't know what you call it, like the bread crates where you.
Yeah, I know the big red ones. Yeah.
Yeah, where the bread gets delivered in.
Yes.
One of the lads at Celtic tied that to the exhaust of my car once and shoved it under.
Oh, I see.
So
So
it was but I saw it.
right. Oh.
I saw it.
You were well liked, weren't you?
No, well, he did that. It was a Norwegian guy, Vidar, and he only did it because I nailed his shoes in the gym that he went to.
There we go. We see.
And tied his laces in about 300 knots.
So you followed him to her gym?
No, with the gym at these apartments we were staying at the time, there was a communal gym. And so I nailed his shoes and then I tied them and he got them off and then I saw him. This is no word of a lie. I tied his laces in so many different bloody knots that I could and it was pouring with rain. And he had to go outside to get back to his apartment and I sat at my window, bedroom window that looked at this apartment and I saw him come past the window like this. I saw him come back to his house like that.
Hey.
And that's when the next day he tied the crate thing to my car.
Yeah.
But
But you'd seen it.
I went out and had a check. I had my baby device check first.
Hey, the fitness regimen is working for you. See that?
Yeah.
That athleticism?
Booby trap device.
Well, I just checked my car, yeah. Luckily I saw this thing, otherwise I'd have been driving all the way to Celtic Park with this trailing behind.
Goodness.
Any
me.
more?
I don't know. Of all the people who was going to answer that, I wasn't expecting such a list.
I don't know about the boys. The dress rooms I played that I was part of, they were brilliant.
Sounds great.
Well, it's
Destroying
just,
shoes.
well, it's just a laugh.
And it's just a lot of time as well
Right.
that you spend it with these people. So I know all the but goodies in the locker room while all the uniform and everything is ready to go for training. You tape it. You tape the whole thing
Right.
so that can get access to it.
That's it.
Who's late to training? And who's fine?
Obviously,
That guy.
some people take it differently. So you got to watch.
I imagine if someone got really wound up about it, you'd just do it more to them, wouldn't you?
Yes.
Yes, exactly.
But you had to be on your toes. Because you could be you. So you're always on your guard.
You couldn't be you. Oh, it couldn't
No,
be
you had to be. It could have been you. I mean, it often was. So you.
I bet Stevie must have fallen for a lot of them. Yeah.
Well, yes.
I would tell you, it also worked in reverse. There was this guy who we played with who he stunk. Okay?
Right, okay.
I mean, it was bad.
Right.
So how do you go and tell a guy on a teammate, look, bro, you smell.
Yeah.
You got to put some deodorant on. So then our team administrator, one of the mornings before everybody got there, I was there getting treatment. All of a sudden, the guy has a big old crate of deodorants and delivering it in every locker. And everybody then grabbed their own deodorant and then they put it back on this guy's locker. So there you go. I thought the message was clear.
Does it hurt?
Well, it could have been, but no. Very clean Hercules, I think.
Well, ask him.
Who are more annoying, Messi fanboys or Ronaldo fanboys? Well, that's a good question.
I don't know, because some guy was. I don't know if you guys were on it, but some guy tweeted me today about 4 or 5.